Gretchen, thank you so much. And so I really, the gratitude I feel for being part of Galway Vertigo now for 5 years, and the things that we've done together, it's been such a key part of, my support system and that. And so between you and Linda, what you guys have allowed me to do as an artist and as a volunteer has really been wonderful. So thank you, all of you, for coming tonight. You had choices tonight, and I'm very grateful to see all of you. So thank you so much. So as Bridget mentioned, when I started painting, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I ended up, we had a little art store over here, Leap for Art, Melissa Dinwiddie's little store, and she opened her store about the same time I started painting. So I hung around there all the time. And one of the things that she did was she had classes every week, and I just started taking classes, and without really making any progress until one teacher came in, and she taught a course called Abstract Realism, which makes no sense at all. But it was quite transformative for me, because I'm sitting there with my tools in front of me like the other people in the class, and she walked in and she said, "Put that stuff away," she said. And she gave us all strips of 300 weight watercolor paper. Said, "This is all you're going to use." And I thought, this is interesting. And you could see the gears being stripped in some of the other people. They didn't know how to relate to that. But that was when I first started kind of just an image with the user just moving the paint around with soggy paper. And I thought, that was okay. And that became my abstract journey. As I started painting a lot and doing different things, my wife has mentioned to me more than once, you should learn how to draw. And why would I do that? This is too much fun. However, a year and a half ago, I took a course at the Art Center, 8-week course with Sharon Rose, and it was hard. And sitting there drawing your hand, and I thought, how can this be good for me? But there was a few things I took away from the class, and once I got the understanding perspective and so on and so forth, I thought, okay. And so I looked at the buildings, and one thing led to another. And as Bridget mentioned, I started kind of looking at urban sketching and doing buildings and that. But somehow I ended up trying an old building. It was actually, there was a little place up behind, next to Wenger. There was a house in the backyard that was just this mix of all random stuff, and I thought, this is awesome. And so I did a sketch of that, and I painted it, and one thing led to another, and I started doing old houses, and I've had people tell me, "Oh, have you done this one out in Pleasant Valley Road, or out in Lumbee, or wherever like this?" So I've done a lot of the ones that are around town. Anyway, so the thing that I really took away from this, not only did I love doing the art, but as an abstract painter, the work is really lovely and goes well with a lot of things. But the difference between that and, say, something like this is as Bridget mentioned, the stories. And when you think of these are just like empty houses, and they're actually not empty houses. The memories, the energy that's still there, all the things that happened in that home, that energy is still there somehow. And so trying to just look at it and go, gee, I wonder about that. And one of the things that I did to try and translate that energy into something is that each one of these paintings, I did a haiku based on the title. And so on, so that if you have that and look at it and you read that, and you might start to think about what actually might have happened in that house back when people actually lived in it, and so on. So that's, to me, is what inspired me to do this kind of work. I've got other plans right now where I'm going to start shifting from this as subject matter to something new and interesting, more interesting, different. I'm kind of like Lisa in a lot of ways. I don't like to hang around in the same place for very long. I will say one thing I did though. And I did this work and I thought, you know, what else could I do with these images? And so I tried some different things with it, but what I ended up doing was each of these has, this came from that. And what I did was I took a photocopy of that, turned it into black and white high contrast, that, printed it on watercolor paper, and then masked it out so the image stays like that, and then I used acrylic ink to, and then it's kind of, I liked it. So I did these, and so it's just like, I think there's a lot of things about art is that, you know, nothing's ever really finished, and nothing's ever really in one place. Art and your art practice continues to evolve, and I think at this stage of my life, that's one of the things, I'll never be bored, because there's always something new to try. And I think one of the things that you'll learn late in life is that, you know, nothing works out perfectly every time. In fact, almost always never does. But as an artist, you learn how to deal with that, and how to build with that, and how to learn from it. So for me, that's why I'm so enthusiastic about the artist, being an artist. You know, I say when I worked, I had a lot of friends from work, and that was my tribe. And then when I left my job, I left my tribe behind. And so one of the things I am very grateful for, of course, is my new tribe, some of whom are in this room right now. So with that in mind, I just want to say thank you again for coming, and enjoy the rest of the night. And we'll see you when we see you.
Other than the local derelict buildings, do you have any plans to, in your travels, come across others so that we see some from other parts of Canada, for example?
So one of the things that, and I know a lot of artists do this too, but one of the things I've been so thankful for is what's in my pocket right here. I always have it with me, and I take pictures of everything. So, you know, where we travel, I'm always looking for something that's got character and is old and so on. I started doing some research on junkyards, scrap yards, that kind of stuff. And again, lots of great images and shapes and colors and stuff, so those kind of things. But taking pictures with my phone has been a real, when you think about it, back when we had film, the most expensive part of your trip was to get all your pictures developed. And then you got all these ones that you took twice just to make sure you got it right. That kind of thing. So no, so yeah, I'm always looking. I think that as artists would tell you, you see the world differently. You know, the shapes and colors that are there, and they're always there. The inspiration is just waiting for you to notice. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Anyone else?
Yeah,
Good. When's your next class?
September. Seriously.
Where is it?
Art Center.
What are you using to get textures into the acrylic ink backgrounds on the prints on the bottom?
Just drops of water.
Just drop. Oh, cool.
Yeah, well, it's still wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have a question.
Sure.
I see different colors of the background for
Yes.
this. It was some meaning of these colors, or was by chance?
Well, I tried some. No, I tried some that I didn't like. You know, once you put them on there, I didn't like them, so I got a stack of ones that it didn't work out. But it's just used acrylic ink, and I tried acrylic paint, but it dried too quickly.
I'm not talking about paint. I'm talking about the color.
Yeah.
Like for example, the color of here you have the orange.
Yeah.
Here's blue. Is connected with your sentence above?
No.
Or no?
Just a color I liked.
Okay.
So, reason.
Thank you.